With people who are creative, I'm sure they experience a lot of little pesky voices in their head, like, oh, that's not quite perfect enough. Let me perfect it a little bit more. Or inner critic having a go at them. Who do you think you are? Who is going to buy your stuff? So I help people to quieten those voices a little bit down. That was very different time in my life because I was no longer a professional woman who was going to conferences for teachers and presenting at those conferences and hanging out and having this professional buzz. I was Maya's mom at Monkey Music, and that's how people knew me. They didn't even know Ella. So I felt like my life is now nappies, milk, and talking about teething remedies. When we manage our time, when we manage our energy, we can give more of us to those that we love. Not what's left of us, but what we've got, and we prioritize better.
Hi, Claire here. Creating this show inspired me to take the Creativity Found mission further. As well as sharing inspirational stories of people who have embraced their creativity in adulthood, I wanted to actually help people do this for themselves and to support artists and crafters who share their creative knowledge with adults through their classes, kits and supplies. CreativityFound.co.uk and the Creativity Found Collective were born. You can visit creativityfound.co.uk to find ways to learn printmaking, try embroidery, get touchy-feely with clay, make your own kilt, start weaving, learn to paint, and so much more. And the wonderful teachers and makers featured on the website are members of the Creativity Found Collective. We also have business support enterprises as members who help others grow their businesses. In this episode of the Creativity Found podcast, adapted from a live video posted on the Creativity Found YouTube channel and in the Creativity Found Facebook group, I chat with one of our members about what they do and how they can help you. And if you would like to join our merry band, simply visit creativityfound.co.uk/join us, and I'll see you soon. There we go. We're now live on Facebook. And we are live on YouTube too. Fabulous. Hi, Ella. How are you?
Hi, Claire. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. Are you back in work mode, having been... Where have you been?
Mallorca.
Yeah, lovely.
I know. I really needed some sunshine, and coming here and looking at the rain outside today is a little bit, but we came back on Monday, and Tuesday I had already client sessions. I was networking yesterday. I had my own coaching session yesterday and a client as well. So it was really, good.
Ella, start by telling us, please, how you can help creative small business owners to thrive and grow.
Oh, wow. Where do I begin? I'm an empowerment coach, and I help busy professional women to achieve what they want to achieve without burning themselves out. And I do that through coaching, running workshops, doing talks. And the main sort of outcome for people is getting more confidence. But also with people who are creative, I'm sure they experience a lot of little pesky voices in their head, like, oh, that's not quite perfect enough. Let me perfect it a little bit more. Or inner critic having a go at them. Who do you think you are? Who is going to buy your stuff? All these sort of little voices that we all have. So I help people to quieten those voices a little bit down. And I'm not saying completely get rid of them, because I heard people giving advice like, oh, when you hear your inner critic, just blast the music and just don't listen to them. You know what's going to happen if you don't listen to your inner critic and you don't give it your little attention? They are going to get like a Glastonbury sort of level of kid, and they will be shouting even louder. And that's because they are scared for you. Those parts are there because they want the best for you, and they are scared. They are fear-driven. They don't want you to fail. They don't want you to be embarrassed. They don't want you to experience shame. They don't want you to experience rejection. So I help people to manage those voices in your head in a way that is compassionate. Just like, oh, I hear you. So tell me, what are you worried about? Oh, if you put it out there, people will see it. People would put negative comments under your Instagram. all that, I was like, oh, all right, I hear you. So giving this voice a little bit of space to tell what they are worried about, and then reassuring them, like thanking them, acknowledging, oh, I hear you're really worried about me. But you know what? I'm not a little girl anymore. I'm a grown-up woman who can manage negative comments, who can manage negative feedback, who can manage anything that comes, because I'm not a little girl anymore. Because they came up when we were little, they came in childhood, those voices, So, I could do a whole lecture on those. So I'll stop there. But those are like my main tool to empower people to manage those voices in their head. And then with them, the pure essence of you shows up, who you really are, because we let those parts, the perfectionist, the people pleaser, oh my goodness, people pleaser, we let them drive unconsciously our life and show up from those parts rather than who we truly are. By the way, my business is called Truly Boldly You. So it's about being truly yourself, being bold, being authentic, being you. It's about my clients. It's about them showing up the way they authentically are.
Yeah, I really understand that. It's funny because recently, I think even this week with some of the recordings I've done, some of the editing I've done, people pleasing has come up a lot. Of course, imposter syndrome comes up a lot. I like the way that you talk about it as it's not the absolute enemy, and you give it like it has a use, it's there for a use, and you need to control it.
They have positive and negative sides, It's nice
Yeah.
to have them at, say, 20%, so they keep us in check, because if you put something that's totally not up to standard out there and just like, so they keep us in check, but let's not let them override our life. So just checking with them. And when we listen to those worries, we can actually check, is it good enough or not? What do I think, And you can listen to that part or not listen to that part, okay? And I sometimes consciously take my perfectionist sits over here, like on this side of me. And I remember getting a invitation to be a speaker at the event for women in Oxfordshire. And I was being introduced to people who never met me. So I usually be like typing emails. Also, I don't know if anybody noticed, English is not my first language. So I'm extra worried about my grammar, my, wording. So in those situations, I turn my perfectionist up. I say, okay, come sit on my lap and let's write this reply together. Let's dot all the I's and cross all the T's and do it perfectly together. So there is use of them like this needs to be perfect. So come and collaborate with me, my dear perfectionist. Let's do it. But sometimes perfectionists can hinder us. Procrastination is driven by perfectionists, just like it's not perfect now, so I'm not going to do it. Or I'm spending too much time on choosing the right fonts, choosing the right colors, all that, so just knowing and managing those voices. Yeah.
Yeah. And why do you think it's important for you to be there and other people to be there to give that support? Because oftentimes somebody starting their own small business will feel like they have to do everything and they have to be in control of everything. But I don't necessarily think that's a very helpful response. So why do you think it's important to have some outside support?
We all have only 24 hours a day. Okay. And why do something that you might not be very good at, that the VA can do for you, that you can spend time creating things, doing what you're good at, what drives you, So it's a fine balance, because there are things that I enjoy doing, and the things that I don't, I will ask someone to do them for me. That's the shortest answer I can give you. It saves us time and energy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I came up with a good idea of something I want to do in the future, but I don't want to do the research, so I'm going to pay my daughter to do it.
Yeah.
I could do that job, but I'll put it off as well because I don't want to do it. I'll put it off, and then the whole project might never happen.
Yeah. And there's people sometimes think that they need to look for a professional to do it, but actually look at who is in your network, including your family, including your neighbors, including your friends, who can do it for you, paid or unpaid, because you love them. They love you so much that they might offer to do it for free, or as an exchange, energy exchange, value exchange. Because we don't know what gaps do we have in our network. Okay. We don't know even who we have in our network. So going through different areas of your life and what kind of support you might need. And it includes, practical help, like people who can do it for me, like, your research, that's practical help. Okay. Advisory roles, mentoring, coaching, accountability, buddies, that's crucial. Emotional support, like there are different categories and who can fit in it. And sometimes we don't even notice how, like when I did that exercise that I'll be sharing, I noticed that my husband features heavily
Mm.
in lots of areas. And I was like, oh my God, so it's time to appreciate some people in our life, people who support us and show them some appreciation. And also we can see that, oh, so and so offered to do that for me, and I never took them up on it. I said no, or I was embarrassed to accept. So I'll be also teaching how to gracefully accept help and
Yeah.
how to gracefully ask for help, not from the victim. Oh, if you could do it for me, because I don't, that's weak. That's not powerful. That's not empowered. But asking from the energy of, another thing I use is power types, powerful archetypes of women, and one of them is queen. And there's nothing weak about queen. And if you come from energy of the queen, knowing that it's not about you, queen is never about herself, unless she's overexpressed, that's a tyrant sort of uh, energy. I'm talking about benevolent, well-meaning queen who deeply cares about her realm. And when she asks, she knows that it's not about her. It's about furthering the mission and the vision she's on, furthering the mission of her business, furthering the mission of her family, whatever it is. She knows it's not about her. It's about the vision.
Did you always want to do that kind of thing and be connected with communities?
I mean, connection is one of my top values. So that's important for me. When I was a teenager, I didn't know I'll be a coach. I always wanted to be a teacher. So I think it's like next door. I love teaching, and the talks I deliver is part of tools. But I used to be a teacher of English, believe it or not, back in Poland. So I taught English as a foreign language. Then when I came to this country, which I thought would be just for a summer, and then I loved Oxford and I stayed, and then I met my husband. Now I'm here indefinitely. So I was teaching English in Oxford as well at the language schools there. I had a short stint in primary schools, and I think that was just to prepare me for the pandemic and homeschooling. So in that time, I nailed phonics and did that with, with my children. But then I was teaching English. I was teaching adults. I was teaching people from all over the world. I loved the Brazilians, Koreans, Saudi Arabia, like people from all over the world were coming to Oxford to learn English. That was the lovely pre-pandemic times. And then I had my children. And I remember that was very different time in my life, because I was no longer a professional woman who was going to conferences for teachers and presenting at those conferences and hanging out and having this professional buzz. I was Maya's mom at Monkey Music, and that's how people knew me. They didn't even know Ella. So I felt like my life is now nappies, milk, and talking about teething remedies. That's how I felt. And then I saw this advert on Facebook that said one woman conference, a conference for every professional woman. And there was this yearning in me to be there, to be in that professional environment where I'll be a woman, a professional woman. And so I signed up for that conference. It was a conference by an organization called One of Many. And after I've signed up, obviously I started getting their marketing, and I signed up to one of their programs, which was around time and energy management. And there I discovered those powerful archetypes of women. I was like, oh my goodness, I've got the choice how I show up. I can be victim, or I can be bitchy and shouty and, angry. I can come from energy of the queen, calm. And that's enough, Lego Duplo for now. Let's go to bed with my children, for example, So just that's the easy trigger to lose your cool, So after doing that course, I saw the value of those powerful tools. Like they were really life-changing for me. There were like several tools that I'm now qualified and licensed to share. So after doing that program, I was like, every woman should know this stuff. I'll tell my NCT friends about it. I tell my colleagues about it. And then I got an email, hey, we are recruiting the next cohort of coaches. Is it something you'd be interested in? And I was like, yeah, where do I sign? And I just started my journey on getting qualified as a coach. So I did a year-long training with them, with practice sessions. Then I kept going with growing my coaching skills with ICF, International Federation of Coaching. And then I discovered other modalities like voice dialogue, which is that part, the perfectionist, the pleaser, the inner critic, the pusher, all them, so I'm a certified facilitator for voice dialogue. And I was felt really aligned with their mission. Their mission is to empower and equip million grassroots women leaders so they can have an impact without burnout. And I was like, yes, I'm up for that. That's what I want to do as well. Because I strongly, strongly believe, and there is research that supports that when there are women in organizations, in leadership positions, higher up there on the boards, everybody benefits. The employees benefit, the local communities benefit, because we are more wired to be compassionate and help and, share our resources. So I want to see more women out there being successful and doing things the more feminine, peacemaking way, yeah.
Yeah. Not the outright, as you said earlier, this is bad, this is good. It's more organic than that. How do you logistically actually do that? So you do one-to-ones, you've talked briefly about events. So tell me a bit about how you do it.
So I have one-to-one sessions with my clients. Most of them are on like a 12-month contract twice a month, because that's sort of nice gap between sessions when they can implement whatever they came up in the session with. And I also run events because those tools are so amazing, that I love to share them. So I run workshops. One is Flourish, which is about harnessing those powerful archetypes of women. And the other one is time and energy management for busy women. And this is basically all these tools that help us spin less plates, or fewer plates. Sorry, English.
Very good.
And so just manage ourselves a little bit better, because when we do that, and that's why is it so important? I don't think people appreciate how important it is, because when we manage our time, when we manage our energy, we can give more of us to those that we love, not what's left of us to our family and loved ones, but what we've got, and we prioritize better. And that helps us lead happier lives, have happier families, happier relationships with our family, but also with our colleagues, because we are less triggered. I've noticed that whenever I lose my cool and get into a shouty mama mode, is because I've been rushed and pressured and I don't have enough time. Those are the most sort of triggering times for me to not behave in a way that I'm proud of. So managing that and or also when you are tired, haven't slept enough, we are hungry. Oh goodness, so just having all that. So in this workshop, I will not only be sharing amazing, amazing life-changing tools, but also a bit of a mindset work, a bit of techniques for boundary settings. And it doesn't mean to say no to everyone and everything, it's just be more strategic about it and how to do it elegantly, that we don't offend people and we still keep the relationships, but we are in integrity with ourselves and we say no, or not this week, not this year, not this month.
Yeah, I think that is a really difficult one for some people to get to grips with. When we did first meet, you did a small snippet of that teaching at the event we were at, and it really, really resonated with me. Tell me, well, no, we're gonna sing my praises now. What have you? We both go out. We do a lot of networking. I'm very, very into like connection, and I know you are as well. What have you found beneficial about joining the Creativity Found Collective? Because there's just a couple of you at the moment that are supportive on the outside. So you're not teaching your art or craft, but you are supporting other small businesses. But generally, what have you found interesting about joining this collective?
So what pulled me first was the creativity, because I don't know if you know about me, I have hundreds of hobbies. And I can do acrylic painting and mixing paints and things. It's amazing. So the creative part of it, just like, oh, that would be nice. And I love going to, like, I went to a jewelry workshop once, and just, so I love crafts. I love doing something, and I've been doing cross stitching, painting, drawing, watercolors. So that what pulled me to it initially. what I didn't expect, Claire, was how super, super supportive you are of the members of the community. Like, I'm almost ashamed that I'm not showing up as much as I would like to. Like, you created a whole page, you created a whole mini page for my workshop and shared it without me even knowing, without even asking, without me even sending you a copy or anything. You just grabbed it from my landing page, made it your version of it, put it on the website. And I feel like I should coach you about charging more for the membership, because that's really, that's very rare, Claire. That's very rare, that level of generosity that you give. That's what I love about it, and you're everywhere and you're super, super supportive of your members without even going much into the meetings and things. Just what I see from outside. Amazing.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Well, I'm pleased. Yes.
Also super important. I believe lots of people who are creative, like they're artists, they're doing their own crafty things. That can be a very lonely place to be because it's you and your studio, So having this community of your buddies who are on the same sort of journey with different sort of flavors of that journey, because someone might be writing, someone might be painting, someone might be creating things, practical things for sale.
Yeah.
So having somewhere to go and meet other humans and connect and share experiences and learn from each other and get support and be able to be vulnerable as well and seek support, I think that's super valuable and rare.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's lovely. And that's exactly all the kind of things that I intended and hope that members do get out of it. So that's really lovely to hear. Thank you, Ella. So I'm just going to say a few things before I click off. We are live streaming using Riverside, which is the recording platform that I also use for all of my podcast episodes. The quality is brilliant. They have editing in there that you can use as well. I use it for videos and things for some of the editing, not the deep editing, but it is really, really easy to use. So if you're interested in live streaming or starting a podcast for yourself, there's a link to Riverside in the description here. There's also a link for Buzzsprout because they are the wonderful people who host my podcast. You can find a link to Ella's page at creativityfound.co.uk also in the description. And you can also find a link to join our lovely collective. So thank you so much, Ella. That was brilliant. And I and some other lucky people will see you later as well.
Lovely.
Thanks so much for listening to Creativity Found. I hope you enjoyed this episode and gained some value from it. If you did, perhaps you'd like to contribute a small monetary sign of appreciation, either by becoming a regular supporter from as little as $3 per month, using the link in the show notes, or if you're listening on a value for value enabled app, such as Fountain, TrueFans, or Podverse, feel free to send a few sats my way. I also occasionally promote products that I personally use, so please use the affiliate link where relevant if you are buying from those fine companies. Thanks so much, I really appreciate it.